thing about, like, if you look at law and how it deals with agreements, it it's you have to litigate it, and there's a certain amount of logic, and a lot of that logic is common law, and a lot of that logic would be probably applied to digital contracts. But the biggest difference between the legal system and how we do contracts now and the digital system is, once you agree to a contract, once you create that contract, so you got to be very careful what contract you enter into. The safe part of it is whatever you put into the contract, that's the obligation. So you don't really, it's not going to come after your life, your house, or everything else. It's just whatever's inside the agreement.
Yeah.
Currently now in the legal world, if you lose an argument with someone, then they could come take your house and everything else you have, and then you're SOL, you're back on the street. And so that's one of the safeguards that people don't really, they overlook, I think. They say, well, the first thing a lot of people say about digital contracts is that you can lose. Once it's in there, there's just no going back if you made bad decisions uh, with the values that you put in there. But the bonus is whatever you've put in, the value that you put in the smart contract is the limit at which they can injure you if it goes bad. So,
and that's where we need to start getting smart as well. This is the smart in smart contracts. Create contracts that work for us that can also evolve. We have total control with these. So, for example, we can create contracts that we look at every 3 months, every 6 months, every year, whatever, and renegotiate circumstances. It's totally up to us how we create these and what we put at stake. And at the same time, it's kind of like we set parameters for how we interact with each other. That is our negotiation power. So what do we want from other people? What are we prepared to give? What is going to keep us true to our word? And in that context, that's kind of like our story starts to have a framework that's really solid that we're creating. And yes, it's not like it's going to work perfectly first run. There's going to be mistakes, but don't put your house up on there.
well, the thing I like about that is it creates a really strong linear format for us to begin with, but it's almost like it's two things at once. It's linear thinking, so you can create graphs and ledgers and so on and so forth that are really linear thinking, but you can also create a holographic thinking system, with this blockchain technology and all the different smart programming contracts that you can create, and so it starts to blend the worlds. And it's the base, because I think that this is all ultimately going to evolve and change dramatically from what we think and see it is as it is today, and 20 years from now, what it's going to evolve into.
Mm-hmm. Well, something that's coming to mind as you're speaking is if we look at contracts as a way that computer systems collate keywords. So the current system that we have the keywords would be involving suffering for humanity. There's really not a voice for humanity, for human beings to speak into corporate law. They're not as strong, they don't have as much weight as corporations.
Right.
Whereas with
that's totally different.
With peer-to-peer contracting, we actually will be entering our own keywords. And so something that hasn't yet been touched on is the contracting I'm thinking for is more from a being perspective than a material perspective. So who I be with another human being, that's what I want to contract in. So for example, I'm talking with SatoriD about creating the Imaginarium, creating a contract to put it into proof of existence. And what I'm committed to is to empowering him as a human being and forwarding the Minds Panel show in wherever I can. Kind of, in some ways, got his back, but in more who I promise to be around this, so that I'm called to be a certain way. And then I can see that if contracts are written on more an ontological platform, then we're putting in key words for who we're going to be with each other. That it's like if there was a constitution created and plucked out all the key words, we could get a way of being with each other, and that we come into agreement with. There would be an essence of, we are on the same planet here and we need to work together. It's basically unfucking each other.
No.
Current system. Easiest way, fuck way, get the most money. But this is kind of the contract of unfuck. What would that? That needs some brain cells to start churning because they're so not thinking that way. But what would computer systems pick up if keywords were the element? What constitution would we have now? It's war-oriented. So how could we create a constitution, and I don't even like the word constitution, but some kind of human being agreement to live successfully and powerfully on the planet? Is it even possible?
Well, it seems like our only choice. Like we don't really have any other. You know, when he was talking about the cells, there's really only two choices. There's growth and running away from what threatens us. You know, and so at some point, if you run away from what threatens you, your whole life or the whole, as a civilization, we'll just destroy ourselves. It's unsustainable. There's no way. There has to be some growth, and it's really about, I think, cultivating and creating the situation. Like everybody needs to survive, so they have to trade their talents, their skills. And right now, if you trade your talents and skills, there's a middleman in the way, always has his hand out to get you into the, place where you can sell yourself and survive. And I think, that's in a body that doesn't exist. And if you think about answering all the problems that we have as a society, and the way your body answers the problems, like the way your body functions together, your heart, your brain, all your muscles and your skeletal system and your endocrine system, and all these systems that work together in your body, really that's, that goes back to that biology stuff. I feel like that's how we go after it in a digital way as well. When we go after the design aspect, how are we going to approach relating to one another? Well, if we don't have the answers immediately, we can look to sort of how the single cells in our body work together, and how there's this giant mass community of sentient, millions and millions of sentient living beings, these tiny little single cells, and one's you got skin cells, you got muscle tissue and brain tissue. You got all this stuff coming together, and it's all, plus all the bacteria in your body that lives there, the lactobacillus, and it's an ecosystem.
They're all got their own job, and they do it well. They kind of create these amazing systems, fantastic systems. These are systems that work, and then in comes cancer, that totally messes it up. And I hear language and stories that we're hearing. I hear them like a cancer.
Right. Well, we have the cancer in our society is the stress, the unnecessary stress that we cause one another. Like, the very fact that the only paradigm in which our society lives on is that we have to live off of one another. We have to parasite off of one another's energy in order to, like, whatever I do, I have to go to your house and fix your stuff, but I got to fix it in just a way so it breaks later, so I can come back in 6 months and fix it again. And everybody does this, and it's this maddening, crazy circle of injustice. Back when products first started getting manufactured, they were manufactured to last forever, and then businesses are like, oh, well, we can't do that because then we'll manufacture our way out of, a job. Mm-hmm. But so how do we approach that?
This is where we've got the power, though. This is what we can alter. We can change this. We really can.
Exactly.
Really, really.
And you start to
And we
look at
have.
systems. In my own life, I look at things, that frustrate me that I need to work better than they do. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, there's another idea. There's something that I can do right there that can change the world. Like somebody can create an eBay that's open source and uses Bitcoin, and it doesn't, steal all your money, and it's free service for everyone in the world to use to trade their goods and their services and things. And somebody could program that and put it up on the internet. But the only problem is that everybody wants money. Everybody wants something. And that's why I came up with the idea of lobby boards, because if everybody wants something but they can't afford to do it, or they need to get paid to do it, or there's this giant separation, there's a chasm between the two places we need to be, and we need to build a bridge in order to be at both places, be able to travel across the chasm. And Lobby Voice was all about, let's get everybody together to the things that they want to do. Like say, I want to be on eBay, but I want to have a better service, so I'll pay some company that promises in a smart contract to build this really cool open source system that's like eBay, but better. And I'll pay them $100, and then there'll be an open contract that everybody else can contribute that if they want that to happen. And then all of a sudden now we've got all this money that can pay these people that want to get paid to do what they do, and they'll develop the system for us, and they'll walk away because it's part of the contract. We say, okay, you'll develop it exactly to our terms, and then you walk away. You don't have any part of it after that. You get paid up, with all the money that we've collected. And then we can begin to we can create this bridge to start to replace all the things that we want to make our lives better. And all you have to do is look at your life. Anyone in their life, they can simply look at it. They're like, okay, well, I'm tired of going to the store and there's not enough selection, or I don't want things, and whatever it is, whatever it is that someone is passionate about, they could they could pledge and then hope that there's a lot of other people that are passionate about that same thing at the same time, and that system would sort of as a free service advertise that like on the front page, like, this is what somebody, this is there's $1,000 and it's growing every hour on this one issue, and everybody starts to look at that, and you program these algorithms so that they're as powerful as the Facebook algorithms in the exact reverse and opposite direction that Facebook uses their algorithms.
Yeah, and I think this goes to how the old story had things reversed, right? Um, so the old story is what you were saying, is like, oh, we need to get money, and then we get money just to get money, and we forget what's the reason why we needed that money in the first place. The reason we needed that money in the first place is to have some food, some shelter, to basically kind of have a happy life, to enjoy life. But we get in, we get oh, you get into that frenzy of, oh, I need to get money, I need to get money, I need to get money, and you forget what it is really about, and then you end up in a job where where you're just working to work, and you're getting money, and you can't even, you eat fast food, which is not necessarily good food for you. You you don't see your kids. You go and you drink because you're tired of being uh, pushed down by whatever the corporation, or the going in and out, and it's just a cycle. So then you need more money, and that's the kind of story that we're in. And it kind of goes into, like, we're just this cog in the machine. But what the real story is, and it's not even the new story, it's the true story of our own biology, is that we 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 are like the cells, that we strive to have some homeostasis within society, within the world. We are better when we're able to enjoy ourselves, to connect, and to collaborate with people. We the thing itself is expressing yourself, whatever your talent is, whatever your passion is, and hopefully we could build some kind of underlining system that it has an even playing ground, so that anybody can, with their own creativity, create their own little world, their own story for themselves, reinvent themselves, and be able to find their niche in the whole organism of humanity and in the whole organism of the world, and they find it in this collaborative, um, um, harmonious way. There's this one quote that I read one time, and because I'm really into about prior to me getting into all this blockchain stuff, but about consciousness and really digging into consciousness. And one of the Stuart Hoffman and Roger Penrose said that consciousness is more than computation, and I think this is where we need to kind of drum this into what we're doing right now. Because a lot of times I see what happening on the forefront of the technology. They think consciousness is computation. Consciousness is the music of the universe. So that means, it's dynamic, but it also creates some harmony, and even it has even the novelty of music, but it has this like chaotic harmony as well. When you have like jazz and all these abstract beats, so yeah, we do need, but the foundation is computation, is mathematics, but a simple mathematics where it's able for us to express ourselves. So, I mean, to like program in such a way that is very simple in a structural way, but gives us the most uh, uh, not complexity, but for us to be dynamic within that system. So we are those notes within the tone of the computer. So we get to express ourselves fully in a harmonious way.
So if we do it exactly how the human body does, like every single cell in our body has all the knowledge of every other cell in the body. Even though you've got a nerve cell that does more stuff and has more energy and so on and so forth, right? But every single cell, even the most minuscule cell that does the most minuscule job in your body, has the same information that the rest of them do, And so I think maybe that's the key difference in our world. If we're really going to combine ourselves, and if we're really going to work together well, and everyone's going to be able to flourish, I think that's one of the keys, is that everyone has sort of that packet of DNA, that universal DNA, that knowledge, that even though you're the ditch digger, you still know everything that everyone else knows.